We're going to move on and get into a little bit of sports action. We're going to go with the NCAA this week because so far all we've talked about is the Super Bowl, really. In two
we
episodes.
like other sports too, although I'm not going to lie.
In
and
2
you guys
episodes, we've
know,
only talked about one game of sports.
Tom Brady
So
for
here you
president.
go, you jockstrap assholes.
Like I said, I'm going to be totally honest.
Jockstrap back in the nerd jet.
I have not followed NCAA at all this year. I've been looking at what Arizona's been doing, and I'm very proud to say Wildcats, the real Wildcats, are standing strong at number.
I don't
Can I
think
get a drum roll? Drum roll.
You
Somebody?
will be getting none.
Go
I would,
fuck
I
yourself
would
is what you
love
can
to get a
do.
drum roll. Okay, I think they're number 7.
So before he continues to keep talking
that's pretty
gibberish,
bad.
we technically are all Wildcats here. Me and Joel both went to Kansas State University, and he went to stupid Arizona State. Or
Although,
Arizona.
Although I will preface that I grew up in a household full of Jayhawks fans, and that is my team at heart.
Well, I mean, I don't know a lot about NCAA basketball, but there's a number 5 next to Arizona. Where's Kansas State?
Kansas is at 3.
But
That's
where's
my
Kansas
team.
State?
They're-
Is this guy?
they're
This is
a
the guy
little ways
talking
down
shit.
here. They're a little ways down there.
All right.
They
So,
also play in the
I don't
best
think he's talking
conference in the country.
let's not talk about conferences because the Pac-12 is the most stacked conference in all sports. Period.
Not in basketball, and that's for sure.
No, you're fake news.
So anyway, before we get too much further,
Are you
so
just
everybody
trumping it right
knows-
now?
So,
Do you just trumpet on the back?
a lot of what we talk about
definitely
sports-wise
did.
when it
Wrong.
comes to, I'd say college sports at least, will be slightly biased. So don't be surprised on the Big 12 and the Pac-12.
Pac-12 rules.
So
Yeah, for
Be
me,
prepared.
like I said, I grew up as a Jayhawks fan, which basically, if you're a Jayhawks fan, you're only a fan of NCAA basketball because that's the sport that they do well. And they,
because your typical thing is, can wait till basketball season.
That's also a very typical thing for an
says the
Arizona fan.
says the K-State Wildcats fans, like, just wait till football season.
Yeah, but we're always just mediocre in basketball. At least we're not fucking awful in football.
Yeah, who won a bowl game in the actual like BCS? Most recently?
Who just won
Most
their first
recently?
Big 12 football game in years.
Most recently, though? Was it most recently? Because I feel like the Orange Bowl was run by the Jayhawks most recently.
It's impressive how high you got your
That was
voice to go.
really high, bro.
So anyway, basketball. We have a list of the current bubble teams. Who do we have first 4 in?
First 4 in at the moment, and this is as of
I guess it would have been yesterday before today's games.
Do me a favor. I know I'm not the only person. There's some nerd people out there that have no idea what bubble team means. What is a bubble team?
So a bubble team is there's a group of 68 teams that make it to the tournament, and there's the first 4 teams they have that will be essentially 65, 6, 7, and 8, and then the last 4
they basically
teams
describe the
outside.
if you're on the bubble, that means it could pop at any moment, and you could either be in or out.
You could be
of the
in or out.
tournament.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That was a perfect way to put it because when you said it was like the top 5 or 4 and the bottom 4, I was
So
like,
basically, when you say like they have like 4 people that are in the tournament, but they're on the bubble, meaning that if they lose, they could potentially just be right out of the tournament.
And if they win, they'd help their
within
case of
one
making
game.
the tournament.
But at the moment, what ESPN is reporting as the bubble teams is Michigan State.
go Spartans.
No, sorry, not Michigan State.
Oh.
Michigan.
No, Michigan
Go
State's actually
Wolverines.
on first 4 out.
Yeah, Michigan State is actually kind of on the outside, especially because who'd they lose to this weekend? Oh, Purdue. They lost to Purdue this week.
Yeah, but Purdue's ranked though, so it's not an awful.
Yeah, but they're
loss.
8-6 in the pack or in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's not that good. I mean, they're saying that Northwestern's going to be in as like a 7 seed, and Michigan State might not
Yeah, I
even
saw
be in.
that.
Northwestern. That's a school that I've never heard
Northwestern-
of outside of like.
Northwestern is a
people.
fantastic journalism school, and they're really good academically, but they have not made the NCAA tournament in 39 years. And they're saying that they're going to make this year, and Michigan State might not in the same conference.
Which is traditionally a powerhouse basketball team. It's just sports team in
traditionally one of
general.
the
Yeah.
like they're always one of the like top 6 teams when it's like Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan State, UCLA, in North Carolina and Duke. Those are like the top 6 like most perennial good teams.
Did you
They-
say Kentucky? Did you ignore them?
He said
No, I said
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I heard it. 'Cause I thought of fried chicken.
They
immediately
don't surprise.
afterwards.
They surprisingly don't actually look great this year. They look good, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do we got? We got Georgia. Georgia's running everything on.
So anyway,
both
real quick,
things.
first four in. List them off.
Yeah. As of now, Michigan, Seton Hall, Arkansas, and Syracuse are the last four in. And then
First four
Syracuse
out.
Orange.
First four
So
out.
first four out, looking in, not making the tournament as of today.
Clemson, Georgetown, Georgia Tech, and Marquette.
Oh man, it hurts me to hear that Syracuse is out. I spent some time in Syracuse. Beautiful town. Beautiful town.
Is it?
Oh yeah, you could buy a great house there for like. When I say great, I mean a very shitty house for like $10,000. True fact.
For 10,000.
$10,000.
You know what $10,000 does here? That doesn't even pay my fucking rent for a year.
They'll pay your rent for about
I'd say 11
7?
months.
No.
11, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying if you split your rent the way you have it split because you have a roommate. If you didn't have a roommate, it would be like 7, including utilities.
I'd make it a year.
Yeah, like Chris said, we're kind of biased towards the Big 12 because that's where we've been basketball fans of that for teams in that conference for a very long time.
We're both from Kansas originally, so we were bound to either grow up a Kansas State fan or a KU fan.
And in my totally unbiased opinion, the Big 12 has been the best conference for years and never gets the rap that they should, and it's bullshit, and that's totally unbiased of me.
And unbiasedly, I agree with all of that.
And very biasedly, he thinks the Pac-12 is good, which is just bullshit.
Let's take a look and see.
Putting the Pac-12 in the same conversation as the Big 12 and unfortunately and annoyingly the SEC, that's a joke. You got to be real with yourself.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm gonna
UCLA
say-
actually
I'm
has
gonna
been
say there's-
really
so
good this
in the
year.
Pac-12,
we were obviously
There's
just
12
fucking around,
teams. Yes, Pac-12 has 12 teams, right?
but yes.
UCLA, really
No,
quick,
no,
is
no, no.
arguably
No, no,
probably
before-
the
no,
most
no, no, no.
fun to watch.
Doesn't matter. Arizona, UCLA, Oregon.
Nothing.
Hold on.
Nothing.
And I'm gonna go through the other one real fast.
Didn't Oregon get their shit kicked in by Colorado earlier in the year?
Yeah, they did.
A team who won't make the tournament.
Yeah, just push their shit.
You don't
right
speak
in.
ill of the Buffaloes. We are merely 20 miles away from them. They will hear you.
Yeah, they lifted the Big 12.
We're
and
not
they've been dog
speaking ill.
shit
We're
since.
speaking ill of Oregon for losing to that shit team.
Well, I'll talk shit about Colorado too. Aren't they under some
But still,
investigation for
that's
their football
3
team?
out of 12, so that's 1/4.
Yeah.
That's just shy of 1/4.
And the
that's
Big
1/4.
12 right now is Kansas, Baylor, and West Virginia, obviously. But it really drops off from there. I think they also have 3.
Three
right?
what, in the top
3
25?
total. Yeah.
And where are you guys at? Because mine are 5, 6, 7. You got Kansas up at 3.
3, 4, and 9.
What? Oh, there we go. Sorry.
If you actually want to go just on like teams that don't make the tournament, though,
If you're going by pure rankings, it's actually pretty even.
yeah. But if you actually want to go on teams that don't make the tournament, though, the Big 12 probably has half the conference going.
No, when do we have the tournament starting? You guys know off the top of your head?
14th.
The 14th.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there? Like I said, I don't pay attention to it. I always go for Arizona, but I don't follow it very well. What are the chances of Arizona going against a Big 12 team?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because it could change because depending on how
It's
they
all
finish
seed.
up,
It's all seed.
it's
level,
all
right?
seeded, but it's also in
Now,
different
Arizona
regions.
will definitely be a 1 or 2 seed at the moment, as long as they don't drop
Yeah,
off.
because they're still leading the.
As
Still
long
in
as
the
they don't
pack.
drop off from now, I'm
If they
guessing.
lose a
I'm
couple
guessing they'll
games.
get a 2 seed, but if they end up winning the Pac-12 tournament, they'll get a 1 seed for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, at that rate, I'm guessing they'll end up playing like a middle of the rung. The way they always like put it.
No, it's 32 teams into the tournament. 64. Okay.
So, well,
68
technically 68
technically.
now. Yeah. They have the first day. There's 2 rounds of 2 teams that are on the outside looking into the 64.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets a little complex, but they.
I just remember it was 2000. I was in Texas, so it was right before 2011. I want to say I was. It was March Madness. I was living in Austin at the time, and Arizona was playing the Longhorns, and we won like at the last minute. And I was the only person in that bar that was singly hated by everybody else in that bar. It was a great moment for me.
Oh, trust me, I know that feeling being in that bar because I'm a Chiefs fan that lives in the Denver area. So
As am I. It's not the funnest thing in the world.
I remember when we went and watched.
It's even the same when we were in
Well,
Manhattan. you were the only KU fan in a
Yeah.
sea of purple.
Yeah,
That's got to be rough. Did you like hate yourself for being a Wildcat? You're like,
no, I've always stood.
You
I've
oddly
always
grown allegiance to the school you go to. It's
but,
weird.
But see, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I've never when I grew up, Kansas State isn't Kansas's rival. Missouri was Kansas's rival, and then
which is
and then
weird for me.
And then
coming
Missouri
from
went to
Arizona,
the SEC.
where Arizona State is like they're like every time somebody comes into my place of work wearing an Arizona State hoodie, I'll make fun of them. And I work in a place where if you make fun of people, you're gonna hear about it. But I still do it because it's like ingrained in me to make fun of them.
Well, in my opinion, I've always said this, but in my opinion, like in my perfect world, Kansas would be number 1 in everything, and Kansas State would be number 2 in everything. Like every championship game would come down to Kansas versus Kansas State, and Kansas would win.
It's unfortunate that KU.
Don't you think that would lead to like a warring like battle inside you? Like, do you ever?
I would love
feel
if
like
there
you
was
would-
a rivalry there, but historically they're just not. Like,
Well, they just unfortunately are always good at football or basketball. Opposite
Separate
of each
things,
other.
opposite, like-
K-State's been good at football. KU's awful at it. KU's good at basketball. K-State's not great at it.
Has
and
Kansas
they've
ever been great at
historically
football?
that for, huh?
Has Kansas ever been great at football?
yeah,
They were, like,
They were
in
a
the-
couple of years in
the late
in the
2000s.
late 2000s.
Okay.
In 2008, they won the Orange Bowl and they made it to They were the number 2 team in the nation at one point, and then they lost to Missouri, and that kind of dropped them out of contention for the. They if they would have beat Missouri, they would have been in the national championship. But
Okay.
then they lost to Missouri, and they ended up playing in the Orange Bowl versus Virginia Tech, and they won. But
And now all of a sudden, like KU's been like one of the worst programs in the country for
But
the
then
last
they're-
like, 3 or 4 years.
but then
Oh, yeah,
their-
that's why I was like, do they?
but then their coach got accused of racism, and then was basically forced
Whoa,
out.
whoa, racism in Kansas.
How dare they?
What?
I loved it.
There's an awful lot of honkies there. Awful lot of honkies.
All I know is that Kansas loves them some Jesus.
Driving through Kansas, there is a Jesus little thing in the wheat fields. Like every quarter mile.
quarter mile, Jesus loves you. Jesus hates pornography.
Around Goodland, Kansas, you see a billboard of Jesus standing in the wheat field, just kind of like smiling at you.
And then
That's a
once you
real
get-
thing.
Once you
It's
get
a
a,
very real thing, and it's terrible.
once you get a little past the line on your way to Manhattan, there's a giant sign that says pornography destroys families. Jesus heals.
Right in front of a porn shop.
Which they've recently renovated. It's actually a really nice looking shop now.
From the outside or the inside? Come on, tell us what you
Yeah.
really do when you go to Kansas.
If we're going to start talking about the ridiculousness of Kansas, we could just be here all day. But